Hi, this is Chris Murphy, the junior senator from the state of Connecticut. I'm so sorry that I can't be there in person with you. I'm grateful to the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments for convening this NVision 2020 corridor conference. I know you're going to be talking about some really important topics related to infrastructure development, related to economic development up and down the corridor. As you know, I go back a long ways in terms of representing the Naugatuck Valley corridor back to when I was a state legislator representing Waterbury in the Connecticut State Senate. I know also that you're going to be hearing from some really great speakers, Governor Malloy and Commissioner Rediker, Mayor O'Leary, Kevin Lembo, and others. And so I guess my task is to add a little bit of news from the federal government with respect to the projects that you're going to be working on. Listen, we have some good news. First and foremost, we have a transportation bill, a 5-year federal transportation bill that was signed into law at the end of 2015. It was a bill that Senator Blumenthal and I worked very hard on and supported in the end. It's a $305 billion bill that is going to fairly dramatically increase resources for Connecticut. It means there's going to be more money coming through the Department of Transportation that will be eligible for a lot of the projects that we care about in Connecticut. Connecticut, still spends today about 70% of its total spend on infrastructure is coming from the federal government, and so we are still deeply reliant on federal dollars. This new transportation bill means that there's going to be more federal dollars coming to Connecticut. It also means that we have certainty. We know how much money we're going to be getting over the next 5 years. So some of the bigger projects that we care about, like double tracking and signalizing the Waterbury to Bridgeport rail line, are possible now that we know for certain how much money we're going to be getting from the federal government. As many of you know, this is a project that I've spent a long time working on, and I'm really pleased that the state the Department of Transportation has made a commitment to start to upgrade the technology on the branch line, as well as to begin the work of double tracking in order to dramatically expand the number of trains that run up and down this line. Representing Waterbury in the Naugatuck Valley, I know the transformational potential of increased traffic on the Waterbury line. Having just walked downtown Naugatuck with Mayor Hess, I know that the plans for redevelopment along the corridor really do rely on increased train travel up and down this corridor. More federal money and a state commitment to increase the capacity of the line means really important things for economic development, local economic development up and down the corridor. But it also means really important things for the rest of the state as well. Of course, I represent Fairfield County too. And as more and more people can't afford to live in Fairfield County, they're commuting to jobs in places like Stamford and Norwalk from places like Naugatuck and Ansonia and Waterbury. That has increased congestion on Route 8 and on to 95. If we're able to put more trains on the branch line, not only will it mean that you'll get more people getting on and off in the downtowns that pepper the Naugatuck Valley, but you'll also take cars off the road, which will free up traffic throughout that Waterbury to Bridgeport to Stamford corridor. Great news for everybody. I want to spend just a few final minutes talking about one of my other passions, and that's the issue of brownfields redevelopment. DEEP estimates that we have potentially 1,000 brownfield sites all over the state. And as you know, there's a high concentration of them in the Naugatuck Valley. And as you also know, I've been doing a tour with local elected officials of those sites over the course of the last year. Right now, the federal government is a contributor to evaluation and cleanup of these sites through the EPA Brownfields Grant Program. But we're simply not doing enough. Connecticut gets more than its fair share when it comes to brownfields redevelopment dollars, but the amount that comes from the federal government is really minuscule compared to the total amount of money that is necessary to redevelop these sites. Now, I'm going to continue to push as a new member of the Appropriations Committee to get more money into the brownfields accounts. That's in part why I not only fought for a seat on the Appropriations Committee, but also fought for a seat on one of the subcommittees that oversees some of these accounts. But I think we have to look at some innovative out-of-the-box ideas as well. I'm going to be introducing later this year new federal legislation that will give increased tax benefits to private developers that choose to redevelop brownfields sites. If we can make it a little bit more attractive for private developers to come onto these sites by defraying some of their federal tax obligation, then combined with state, local, and federal dollars, we can get some of these sites, the 1,000 sites all across Connecticut, many of them in Naugatuck Valley, cleaned up. Those are just two of the topics I know you're going to be spending a lot of time talking about over the course of your 2020 Corridor Conference. But you know that I'm a partner in everything that you're talking about and planning for over the course of this conference. You know that I have staff on the ground in Connecticut so that when I'm not there, you can be interacting with them on your priorities. I really would have liked to have been there in person, but I'm looking forward to getting a readout of everything that comes from this effort, and I look forward to working very closely with you on infrastructure priorities, on brownfields redevelopment priorities, and on anything else that comes out of this conference as necessary to create more jobs in the Naugatuck Valley Corridor. Have a great conference.